Today on an all-new Dr. Phil.
My daughter thinks that she is a white person.
I know that I'm white.
Mom claims her daughter's a racist.
I'm not fat, which is an African-American thing.
Against her own race.
Being black is so gross and ugly.
You are saying disgusting things.
If you look through my veins and through my blood, I know who I am, and I'm a proud white person. God made one perfect person, it's me.
Does it occur to you that you might be hurting people's feelings?
African Americans don't have feelings because they're not people.
Let's do it.
Have a good show, everybody. Here we go.
This is a safe place to talk about hard things.
Stand by. We'll count you down.
Today's going to be a changing day in your life.
5, 4.
I am not giving up on you. This is Treasure. Despite what you see, this 16-year-old insists she is white and doesn't care what you think. Treasure has explained to our producers that if you look around, white people don't have any problems whatsoever, and that's why she says her role models are Jennifer Aniston, Kim Kardashian, and Donald Trump. But Treasure's mother, Monique, claims her daughter not only has mixed up ideas about her identity, she is also blatantly racist and has even gotten kicked off of social media for posting support for the KKK. Now, Monique insists that she has never taught her daughter to hate her own race and wants to know why Treasure has talked about wanting to be white since she was 5 years old. Take a look.
People try to tell me I'm an African American, but that's not true. African Americans are loud, rude, obnoxious, and just altogether fat and ugly.
If you ask me, my 16-year-old daughter has a very out-of-control identity crisis. She truly believes she's white. When Treasure was 5 years old, I've noticed Treasure was having issues with her race. She wouldn't play with the black children. Treasure would mangle or destroy her black dolls. She would cut their heads off, pull off their arms. She would pretend that they were the white doll's slaves.
Well, my mom bought me beautiful white dolls instead of buying me the ugly, big-lipped black doll.
I felt mortified. I was a single mom trying to support a family. We couldn't afford to stay in our beautiful home. We moved from a mostly white, affluent neighborhood to the city, which was mostly African American.
From the suburbs to the hood. I was not anything like other black people. They were all hood rats and they were all ghetto. They all act like monkeys.
Her school was predominantly African American. She started to say very racist things in public. Like, I hate black people's hair, they're dirty. She would call them the N-word.
It made me feel good to put down an African American person because it helps them stay in their place. All the African American kids that I was around were all ugly looking and losers. They're all gorillas.
My daughter is a racist against her own race. What I find the most disturbing is my daughter is consumed with the Ku Klux Klan. It just shakes me to my core. Treasure, have you ever reached out to the KKK?
I have their number on speed dial. Call KKK. They keep me current on updated events. I've had the KKK's number since I was in middle school.
Greetings from the loyal white knights of the Ku Klux Klan. Another ancient bout, this time in Washington, D.C. 20-year-old silverback gorilla tried passing a park bus, then struck it with her car.
I identify with the Ku Klux Klan because the way they believe is just so smart. White is right. White power.
To ask if you've ever gone to their website, that's me.
Oh, yeah,
You've done it. Yeah, I figured as much. Ooh, that's just awful.
Yeah, of course I've been to their website.
That's just awful. My daughter does spend a lot of time on social media. I don't even look at her Facebook page. It's too painful.
I don't care what other people think. I'm gonna do what I want.
As a parent, I kept expecting her to just outgrow it and thinking she would change. I pretty much was like an ostrich, put my head in the sand, and it's getting worse.
Okay, you're shocked by this, right?
Mortified.
And I want to tell you, I'm interested in doing this story because I think it's a teachable moment and not for sensationalistic shock value because of some of the outrageous things that she says. So I don't think she's doing them to get attention. I think she's doing them because this is how she actually feels and believes.
Yes.
Would you agree?
Yes, I do. She says she's white.
Right, from a very early age. Do you think she's delusional?
Without doubt.
I mean, so is she delusional in other areas or just this area?
Just this area.
Okay, now when she showed up the other day and she met one of our very able producers, which she discovered on meeting her, I guess she talked to her on the phone, but on meeting her, that she was in fact black.
Yes.
She was very taken aback, very awkward, reluctant to even shake her hand.
Wow, it doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, well, this is Christian that she met and worked with here.
She says things like they should be in cages. They're monkeys, so her views
Yeah.
are extreme, to say the least, and extremely offensive.
You have explained to Treasure in the past that she is not Caucasian. How
Yes.
does she respond when you tell her that?
She flew into a rage and told me I'm white.
Your husband passed away?
Yes,
And when was this?
in 06.
I'm very sorry for your loss, by
Thank
the way.
you,
I know
thank
it's been a
you.
while, but it never gets easier.
No.
I know. And he was Caucasian,
Yes,
correct?
yes.
And you allowed your children to believe that he was their biological father.
Yes, I did.
Why?
Because he was the only father figure that I had for my children.
When he passed, you decided to tell them the truth.
Yes. I wanted them to understand that they were African American, in fact, as opposed to thinking they were mixed race children.
Right.
And it wouldn't hurt anybody because my husband was no longer alive. So,
And they were in shock, right?
yes, particularly Treasure. She took the information so hard.
You think that's a triggering event
Yes,
here?
yes,
She has full belief that she has a Caucasian father.
right.
And so she associates that with a certain lifestyle
Oh, no
and
doubt.
home and family. She loses him, and through financial necessities, you have to make changes as a single mother.
Right.
And you wind up in a different neighborhood, a different socioeconomic set of challenges, as many single mothers do.
Yes.
That she's blaming that change on this neighborhood, on the people that she's now associating with, and equates that with the change.
Culture shock. Like I said, she did believe that she was mixed, and she wasn't putting black people down when she was really little. Like I said, until she got to be about 5, and then she wouldn't play with black children. She would be insulting and say they were dirty, and she would only play with white kids.
Okay. And let me be very clear here. Very, very, very clear here. You're absolutely appalled at what she's saying and doing.
Devastated.
So this is something, you're not here to defend her, you're not here to justify her. You're here to get her some help and try to get some
Exactly.
clarity
Oh,
about
yes.
this.
Oh, yes.
I want to help her and get this straightened out.
That's why we're here.
And you believe that this is some kind of mental disorder, mental distortion that she's going through.
I feel that she has body dysmorphia. I feel that she thinks that she is a white person. With her being black and hating black people, it's devastating.
Yeah. Has she ever been to a KKK event?
No, but I'm sure it's her dream. She'd like a Make America Great hat if you guys could get her one. I'm sure she'd be thrilled.
Now, Monique's daughter, Treasure, is here, and we're going to meet her and find out why she says black people are ugly hood rats, and she wants nothing to do with them. Those are her words, not mine. We'll be right back.
But when it comes to black people, I think they're all ugly and I have nothing in common with them. I'm different from African Americans because I'm white. My nose is not giant as like African Americans. My lips are perfect. They're not too big. We're on 2 different levels. Like, okay, African Americans are here. I'm here. Everything I'm saying is true.
And later,
She has talked about having her skin bleed.
And if they're African Americans, they're uncivilized people.
I don't think she really identifies as Caucasian. I think she identifies as racist. yoga instructor accused of driving her twin sister off a cliff and killing her.
For the first time, the twin behind the wheel speaks out.
Tell me what happened the day of the crash. You want to know what I think? You and your sister had a very volatile relationship. I think you got into an argument. She was grabbing your hair, and all of a sudden, you're falling 200 feet. That is what happened, isn't it?
That's tomorrow. Then on Friday,
you're sending money to somebody you've never met.
Who's really behind this celebrity catfish scam?
No way.
Yeah, way.
all new Dr. Phil. Friday.
When it comes to my daughter Treasure, she doesn't know anything about Black history. She has a non-existent view of the plight and the sacrifices of African Americans.
I believe that we should not be celebrating Martin Luther King Day. I believe that he was just a token placed by Black people to start controversy.
What I really want is for my daughter to be proud of her ethnicity. What I hope is that Dr. Phil can give her a wake-up call.
Well, Monique says her now 16-year-old daughter, Treasure, has racist behavior and had it even as a child. But her behavior has worsened when they were forced to move from a predominantly Caucasian suburb into the city. That's when her daughter began bullying other African Americans just because of their race, no other reason.
I know a lot of people take issue with my beliefs. I'm white. I'm a Caucasian because everything about me is different from an African American. I have naturally straight hair. My hair isn't nappy. It doesn't require weave. My nose is not giant as like African Americans. My lips are perfect. They're not too big and they're not too small. Like, they're just perfect. My ears, I don't have Black people ears because they're really giant. Most African Americans speak ghetto. But when it comes to Black people, I think they're all ugly and I have nothing in common with them. I'm different from African Americans because I'm white. My figure is just like Kim Kardashian, and she's a wonderful role model. I act and I think like a white person instead of a Black person. I believe that I'm completely and utterly better than them. Like, we're on two different levels. Like, okay, African Americans are here, I'm here. White people act and think just way more mature than African Americans. Black people, they think in a criminal way. When I think about African Americans, I feel like asking them, what is wrong with them? They're really dangerous. If an African American is on the same street as I am, I'll cross the street to avoid their chaotic, thuggish ways.
Are you okay?
I'm irritated.
I'm sorry.
I just know that I'm white. I mean, she might not know that I'm white, but I know that I'm white. I can feel it through my veins. I feel it through my blood. I tell my mom I'll never be like any of those Negroes. My mom tries to criticize me about my supposed race. I tell her she's just ignorant. There's nothing wrong with my views or beliefs because I have freedom of speech and everything I'm saying is true.
Okay, Treasure, how are you this morning?
Pretty great. How are you?
I'm all right.
That's great.
Now, you've been listening to everything we've talked about so far,
Yes,
right?
I have.
And is there anything that your mom has said or told me about that's inaccurate, incomplete, or that you want to add something to?
Well, I mean, actually, yeah. You guys called me delusional earlier, and I feel like the only people
I did not call you delusional. I asked your mother if she thought you were delusional.
Yes, well, you asked her that question. I would like to clarify the fact that I am nowhere near delusional. I'm actually very capable and a very intelligent person, so.
Being delusional and being intelligent are not mutually exclusive.
Well, I feel like if you're being delusional, then you gotta be some type of retarded. And I'm not that.
Well, I have two things to say about that. Number one, that's absolutely just simply not the fact. And number two, using that word is very derogatory. So I'd appreciate it if you wouldn't use that word.
Yeah, well, okay, well, I'll understand, only because I'm a very respectful person. And if you wish that I don't use that word, then I most definitely won't use it.
Okay, appreciate that.
Okay, no problem.
When you say that you believe yourself to be Caucasian, tell me why you believe that to be true.
Well, I know I'm a Caucasian because when I wake up in the morning, I just have such a great life. And that my hair is so perfect, my skin isn't ugly, and I'm not fat also, which is also a really African-American thing. So, like, I'm just nowhere near like them. And plus, they're so thug and criminal that I can't relate.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Well, I mean, that's just so riddled with ignorance, I don't even know how to respond.
Okay.
And, And I'm not saying it to be insulting. Ignorance doesn't mean lack of intelligence. It means lack of information. I think you're confusing the concept of race and ethnicity, because race is really biologically determined.
I know I'm biologically white. I feel it through my veins and through my blood. I don't just think I'm white. I know that I'm white.
And
there's no doubt in my mind.
Even though I have told you that your father was not your father and that you are actually African American?
You might be lying. I don't trust anything that anyone else says. I know that I'm white.
Ethnicity, on the other hand, has to do with whether or not you identify with a particular group in terms of their culture and practices, beliefs, religions, things that go along with that particular group. And that has nothing to do with race. Sometimes they can overlap, but not always.
Well, I feel like you're wrong. You're completely wrong. I know who I am, and I know my race, and I'm a proud white person. And there's nothing, I feel it through my veins, like it's literally in my blood. There's no way. I don't believe that I'm white. It's not my ethnicity.
Treasure, do you
it's my
accept
race.
the fact that I'm your mother, I'm your birth mother?
Who knows? You might be lying to me too. You never know.
Here are 3 pictures of Hollywood A-list actresses. 2 of the 3. 2 of the 3 are...
She's really ugly. Halle Berry looks like a and I love Jennifer Aniston.
So that's your perception of what you're seeing?
Most definitely. Black people are really ugly, and I feel like everybody can have different perceptions.
Yeah. Well, Lupita was named the most beautiful woman in the world in 2014. Callie was named the most beautiful woman in the world in, I think, 2004. So there are an awful lot of people that disagree with you.
Well, of course. I mean, that's because they're trying to put them as a token. They want them to be, you know, the proud supporters of black people.
Okay. Treasure's brother Kendall is here and says it crushes him that his own sister is a racist and says hateful things against African Americans. We're going to meet him next, and I've got some very, I think, interesting questions about this brother-sister relationship. We'll be right back.
I hate to say Treasure's crazy, but she acts crazy. If you'd ask me, my sister is racist.
Black people are gang members. I don't have nothing to do with them. They're criminal and they're thugs.
I wish I could feel as though she does this for attention, but this is just how she feels.
And later, if you disagree with what she's saying, stand up.
All of them are liars. All of them are liars. And behind closed doors, they type the same thing as me. They're just quiet about it.
My daughter Treasure is a very smart girl, except for this one flaw.
I want to go to college. I want to get married. I also want to marry a white man. I think Caucasian love is the best love in the world.
What my daughter needs to understand is if she has racist views like this, she's limiting herself.
I'm disgusted by people like Beyonce, Nicki Minaj, and Blac Chyna because they're absolutely gross. They're just so ignorant and ghetto. I aspire to be like Jennifer Aniston someday.
Going through an identity crisis like this is only going to cause her a lot of problems. She needs to address this now because it's only going to be catastrophic if it continues.
Well, Monique says she has no clue as to why her 16-year-old daughter, Treasure, began identifying as a Caucasian, let alone having racist views against other African Americans, other than the death of her father, who was a Caucasian, and her learning at the time that he, in fact, was not her biological father, and there were changes in their lifestyle at that point, and either cause or correlation, it occurred at about that time when you started seeing this, right?
Yes, that's correct.
And both she and her son, Kendall, say it is extremely painful and embarrassing to be somewhere in public and hear Treasure make disrespectful remarks to someone just because they're black. Take a look.
The problem with my sister Treasure is that she feels like she's white. My sister isn't white. My sister's African American.
Black people are gang members. I don't have nothing to do with them. They're criminal and they're thugs.
I hate to say Treasure's crazy, but she acts crazy. If you'd ask me, my sister is racist. She says very hurtful and insulting things to African Americans in public. If an African American walks past us, she'll say things like, she's a gorilla, hood rat, or dark-skinned girls are so ugly. When she says things like that, I feel offended.
I said black people are pigs.
Oh. She just does not care, and she doesn't, I don't think she thinks of black people as human. I wish I could feel as though she does this for attention, but it's just how she feels. I feel like my sister Treasure needs to face reality, and I encourage Treasure to use her intelligence to move us all forward instead of bringing us down. When it comes to hate, I feel like Treasure should be part of the solution and not part of the disease.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
I appreciate it. You absolutely do not endorse your sister's beliefs, the statements that she's making, or anything of the sort.
Not at all. I think it's disgusting.
Okay. So, here's a question. You say that you think all African Americans are disgusting and thuggish and ugly and all these negative things. Do you feel that way about your brother?
Well, actually, I put my family on a higher level than I put African Americans because they're so low that I would never put my family there. Like, I would never want them to actually be on the same level as African Americans.
But your mother's African American.
Well, I mean, supposedly, but, you know, I'm not going to put her on the African American level. I don't know, because then I will treat them like
Are you African American?
Yes, I am proud.
Are you African American?
I am 100% African American.
So when you lump them all together, they're telling you straight up they're African Americans. So
I mean, if they're African Americans, they're uncivilized people.
So you're saying your brother is uncivilized?
They deserve to be in jail. I mean, if they want to be African American, then that's where they go. You know, that's what African American people do. They go to jail.
Do you hear the things that's coming out of your mouth right now?
Of course.
Do you actually, like, you say you have perfect ears? Do they work?
It's not that you identify ethnicity-wise with a Caucasian group. That's your choice. What's offensive to me is why you would be such a racist about it. Because let me tell you, if you want to identify with the Caucasian group, of which I'm a member, you are not welcome. Let me tell you.
Wow.
Because you are saying ugly, hateful, disgusting things about decent, caring, loving human beings. And I just find that, so I find that, and you are so ill-informed. You say, like, you know, the prisons are full.
Have you looked at the statistics?
Pardon me?
Have you looked at the statistics?
Yes, I have,
well,
as
then
a matter of
you should know
fact.
that African Americans are the most incarcerated people out here.
Oh, really?
So, yes.
Okay, well, let's actually talk about that, because according to the Federal Bureau of Prisons, the prison population is 37.9% black and 58.2% white.
Well, you're not looking at factual information.
That's August 2018.
Well, then you're not looking at factual information.
I am looking at factual information, and the fact that you declare it not, the fact that you declare it not factual is just simply wrong. You don't know what you're talking about.
I know exactly what I'm talking about. I know that black people are criminals.
And you talk about blacks being thuggy and criminal. Have you ever read anything about the Aryan Brotherhood?
I mean,
How do you think it would go if you showed up at a KKK rally?
I mean, I'll tell them I'm one of them. They would be like, okay, hand me a robe.
She has talked about having her skin bleached.
Yeah, like Michael Jackson. I support that. Like, I feel like if I had the choice, I most definitely would make a white transition. Because being black is just so gross and ugly. I don't want to be that.
I thought you were Caucasian.
Oh, no, I mean, my skin is a darker toned. I don't like that. It's not cute.
I don't think she really identifies as Caucasian. I think she identifies as racist.
Well, I decided to do a little exercise with Treasure while she was in Los Angeles. We'll see how her assignment went when we come back. Do you just have a list of things that you say to be outrageous?
Oh, no. Everything I say is the truth.
When it comes to running the country, my daughter has very strong views.
I'm a huge fan of Donald Trump. I believe that Donald Trump is one of the best presidents we've ever had. He's this absolute genius.
When it comes to President Obama, she thinks he's done nothing for this country.
I believe that Obama did nothing for all people.
When it comes to President Obama, she was critical of every move he made, and I feel that she supports Trump solely because he's white, not because of his policies.
Since it was Treasure's first time in LA, we gave her a tour of different parts of this diverse city to record her natural reaction to her environment.
I'm in Beverly Hills right now. I'm seeing a lot of Caucasian people, and I haven't seen, I've seen only a gaggle of African Americans, and they were really gross. Look at that! It has like a Gucci design and everything. And they have a Chanel. I think I'm gonna die. I think that, of course, if an African American walked into any of these stores, I feel like people have the right to refuse service, and I feel like they would probably steal something, so of course they should be asked to leave, most definitely. Well, those were my fellow Caucasian people. They were so beautiful and pretty. I assumed they were models, so I had to say, tell them they were beautiful. Well, I'm just living my best life out here on Rodeo Drive in Beverly Hills, and I just feel like I belong here, most definitely. The place I'm in, it just takes my breath away. We haven't seen literally any African Americans here, which is such a positive, good thing. My ideal place to live actually would be right here, where the homes are giant. There's really nice families. Oh, see, there's a little boy just playing Frisbee and stuff. Well, all the people here are Caucasian, so that's probably the reason why I most likely would fit in here the most, because, I also am a Caucasian person, and this is where I belong. This environment reminds me of the ghetto. This environment reminds me of the hood. So as you can see, her hair literally looks like it's a sponge. If you put your hands in her hair, you'd probably lose a finger. The smell is just so overwhelming, I just want to die. And it's way too many African Americans. That's probably some of the reasons why it smells. There's dog right there. There's actual dog right there. Someone really needs to clean up. All these people look like pickpocketers. They all just look like they're gonna steal from you. African Americans are more known to actually commit crimes than Caucasian people. So, you never know with them. They have giant lips. Their noses are really, really big. And they're just really ghetto. It's completely disgusting how ghetto they are. Honestly. Where did they come from? That's the reason why they're called monkeys in the first place, because they don't know how to act. I could never live in this filth and among all of these African Americans and among all of these people who clearly have absolutely no class. African Americans they ruin everything good.
Does it occur to you that you might be hurting people's feelings? You might be causing someone pain with the things that you say?
Well, I believe African Americans don't really have feelings and don't care.
Do you just have a list of things that you say to be outrageous?
Oh, no. I feel like, honestly, everything that I say is the truth. Stereotypes are stereotypes for a reason. Someone had to make them up, Someone actually had to look at a black person and say, wow, you're really fat. It's a black stereotype. Almost all black people have diabetes. All of them are fat and overweight.
I have diabetes.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I feel so bad for you. Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm doing all right.
Oh, okay.
We're worried about you, sweetheart.
I think the only reason why people are laughing is because you guys act like you've never heard people say this before. It's just because I'm gonna step. I'm actually gonna say what everyone else is thinking, because it's the truth. But I'll say it. I'll say it.
If you disagree with what she's saying, stand up.
All of them are liars. All of them are liars. And behind closed doors, they type the same thing as me. They're just quiet about it. That's it. And you can hear by the reaction in the crowd, some of them are African Americans, because I can hear the fact that it's getting real loud in here.
You need some help big time.
Okay. All right, everybody have a seat. Well, Monique and Kendall, say they fear treasure will soon say the wrong thing to the wrong person and end up getting a really bad result.
Yeah, I don't care.
We're going to discuss that next.
Tomorrow on an all-new Dr. Phil.
The yoga instructor accused of driving her twin sister off a cliff.
The twin behind the wheel speaks out.
She was grabbing your hair, and all of a sudden, you're falling 200 feet. That is what happened, isn't it?
Dr. Phil exclusive tomorrow.
When it comes to my daughter, I do have a lot of fears. Part of my fears with my daughter Treasure is fear of the unknown. I feel like I don't know where things are headed.
My views on African Americans will not be a problem in the future for me. And as long as I have a mouth, I most definitely will express my opinions.
My fear with my sister and her crazy views is that she's going to say the wrong thing to the wrong person.
My worst fear is that my daughter Treasure will put on a white sheet and join the Ku Klux Klan.
If my mom is afraid that I might join the Ku Klux Klan, the only thing that she needs to know is I may just do it if they offer me a hood.
What is it that's caused you to have such self-loathing and self-hatred that you're so rejecting of who you are? You project it onto others, but you're clearly describing yourself when you say that. And I'm just wondering,
That's funny.
what is it, what have you done that's made yourself so upset with you?
Well, I mean, I don't have any problems with myself. I honestly think that God made one perfect person, it's me. And I mean, well, I don't have any issues with myself necessarily. I feel like black people should just be put in a different place. Let's say that, because I'm not going to say anything too extreme, because I know they're around and they get all angry and stuff. And black people are very chaotic.
Well, let's take that out of it. Let's take that out of the conversation for a minute. Let's just completely forget about race and African Americans. Let's forget about that completely.
Well, that's hard for me to do.
Well, but let's try it. You said you're very intelligent and that you're the perfect person, so I'm sure you can achieve whatever you set out to do.
All right.
All right. So I'm curious how you define empathy.
I don't have any. I feel like if you have empathy, then you have sympathy for someone. You know, like if I see a homeless person on the street and I give him $1, then I have empathy for him. I feel like, oh, wow, he's homeless. But honestly, for me, if I gave a homeless person $1, I would take it back just because I would like to see the sadness on his face of me, you know, tricking him, thinking I'm going to give him money.
So you don't wish other people well?
No, not at all.
Okay.
Why would I?
Well, I don't know. I'm just asking. So the person that you would decide as ideal would not be someone that would wish others well?
No, not at all. I don't believe in sacrifices for other people.
No, that's not sacrifice, just that you would wish others well.
No, not at all. No, I don't care about people. People just aren't on the same level as me. People are really low to the ground, and I'm like in the clouds, kind of. Like they're just up. I'm up here, they're down here. Like there's separate levels for like, I believe that we're in two different lanes, you know?
You're saying an ideal person does not care what happens to other people.
Yeah.
And so everybody else, you would wish them to fail while you succeed.
Yes, most definitely.
Okay,
yeah.
Gotcha.
That's how you only make it in life. If you don't do that, then where are you going to be?
Gotcha. Okay, Monique says that she's here to get her daughter Treasure headed in the right direction. And we're going to talk about how that's possible after the break.
Because of my beliefs about African Americans, I'm having a hard time keeping and making friends.
She doesn't want to have African American friends.
My sister has a great outgoing personality, but deep down she's very lonely.
She adores white people. Her racist views alienates her. I fear that we need some help because this is just not getting any better.
The bottom line is nobody wants to be friends with a racist.
I want to introduce you to someone, Spirit, a life coach and therapist from Atlanta. As a life coach and as a very accomplished and successful African-American woman, what are you hearing and what do you have to say to this young woman?
Well, you know, I think if you get caught up in the very extreme things that she's talking about, then you miss the tragedy of her story, Dr. Phil. And the tragedy is, unfortunately, Mom, you didn't intend to. And I actually heard you say, well, what I told her about who she was, and then told her the truth later on, well, nobody was going to get hurt. Unfortunately, somebody did, the most important person, and that was your daughter. You lied to her about who she was, and then when you told her that she was something else, it caused a complete identity crisis. So we have issues around culture, we have issues around class, we have issues around racial identity, and we have issues around self-esteem. It's not that she hates black people, it's that she hates herself and she wants her own life back. She wants her life back.
Well, I couldn't agree more, which is why I ask you, what is it that you're so upset with yourself about? Why are you so angry?
I don't take hood rat serious at all. So I'm not gonna even pay her any mind. If I've been white since the day I've been born, then I'm still white now, and I will be white every day I wake up. Most definitely. There's nothing out here that can change my opinion, not some hood rat telling me you don't know what you're talking about, or not you, Dr. Phil. No.
Do you think that it is becoming to you to refer to this very fine, well-educated woman that flew halfway across the country to reach out to you, to refer to her as a hood rat? Do you think that's becoming to you?
Well, I don't know why she would.
Do you think that's flattering to you to do that? Do you think
I mean,
that
I'm just telling the truth.
you?
I'm not lying.
Well, I didn't want to ask you.
I feel like it's becoming of me to tell the truth. So, yes.
I think at this point it's really important for us to deal with facts. And so, Treasurer, I think exposure is important. And so I would absolutely invite you to come and shadow me in Atlanta so that you could actually meet and understand what amazing black women look like. So that you can learn your black girl magic too.
No, I don't believe in going in a room full of I would never do something like that.
Unfortunately, see, the interesting thing about this, though, Dr. Phil, is that when you are comfortable in your position, when you know who you are, when you are educated and you are fact-based, you can walk into any room with confidence. You can talk to anyone. You don't have to do anything except for simply be. But when you feel the need to bring people down, when you feel the need to use words to hurt people, we know all the time that hurt people hurt people. And so I look at you, and all I want to do is just help you heal your brokenness. It's so unfortunate.
What are you so afraid of?
Seeing a black person is like going to the zoo. You only want to go there a few times, but if you go there all the time, you know everything that goes on.
That's like a tired record. You only have about 6 things you say. And, you know, after you say them, it's just... So is it too late for real change to happen here? I'll tell you what I think when we come back. I have nothing but love and compassion for you as a young human being here. And I really, really hope that through intellectual challenge and examination, that you will mature past this tantrum that I think you've been throwing since you were 5 or 6 years old. If I make arrangements for you to have some professional help to help you understand how emotional development works, how belief systems work, how stereotypes work, if I get you some professional help with a professional counselor, psychologist that will help you through those things, will you take that help?
No, because I don't need any help. I'm perfectly fine. And the fact that you're calling my decisions like rash and delusional proves the fact that only people who really need a reality check are the people questioning me. If you want to call me a racist, well, that's what you can call me, but I'm not.
Then here's what I have to say to you.
Yes.
I default back to very basic principles of human behavior, and that is you just simply don't reward bad behavior. And as long as she is emitting what you consider to be bad behavior, then I recommend that you go to what I call commando parenting. Food and shelter. I mean, those are requirements. I mean, we talked to DCFS, and we're through.
Oh.
That's what you're required to do. And this is the commitment to commando parenting right here. And you got to be willing to go all in here. All right. I want to thank my guests today, including life coach and therapist Spirit. Thank you so much for your insight and wisdom. We will see you next time.
Bounce, bounce, all the girlies bounce. Take 'em to my house, turn the party out. Bounce, 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 all the girlies bounce. Take 'em to my house, turn the party out.
You warned me 1,000 times, memories can kill ya, but I didn't hear ya. I thought that I could fly, but woke up on the asphalt. I swear there was the last time. I've always been naive. Call it